fun begins.
How's it going?
Hello.
Well,
Greetings, young Jedi.
hello there.
Hey everyone, Hybrid Toy Reviews here, and tonight I have something absolutely insane to show you. I don't know that this kind of content has ever been made. Hopefully, there's an audience for it. So, today we're going to take a look at the Black Series Sauvage Opress. But Hybrid Toy Reviews, the hot Black Series Sauvage Opress hasn't been released yet. Wild, you might say that. And you also might note that we're missing some things here. This is a factory probably reject, maybe a test shot. This is something that has been taken from the factory in an unfinished state. And the fun thing about this is even though the figure is a couple months out from release, it'll really let us get a good look at what we're probably getting with the figure when it does release. So without further ado, let's get into this review. Preview? So yeah, the thing is getting it the way that I did, you don't get packaging, it just comes in a box from China, and it just is what it is, but it is alright, the packaging will surely look excellent, the photos of it look great online. So we're going to start with the accessories. Now it technically comes with two, but one of them isn't it. So the listing had it listed with this double-bladed lightsaber, but it's actually a Darth Maul lightsaber, and the way it's painted, it's from one of the new, either the GameStop 3-pack or the speeder set or the single pack. It has a kind of more gunmetal silver to it. It's a cool accessory. We'll put that in the accessory bin. Inevitably someday I'll need a replacement red blade for something or however, so it's nice to have that. But the one accessory that's really cool that it did come with, that should come with the figure, is the battle axe. Now this is really neat because it's actually unpainted, which lets us take a good look at the sculpt, and something that I really like is this little nubbin here. This is from a sprue. This is where they would like inject the plastic in, and then usually they would take the mold out of the mold and they would break these off. There's actually a little spot there where it looks like there used to be another one that's missing. It wasn't in the package or anything. It wasn't in the photos. So that is really cool. That's interesting to me. It comes in this really nice kind of dark gray, kind of metally gray looking, and the blade is insane. The blade actually is very smooth, you know, like the whole thing's smooth. It's got little like sculpted, you know, like nicks in it and such, but the blade almost has like a gloss, you know, like finish to it, and it's obviously not painted, but I could imagine with some paint this would really have a nice luster. I would have never imagined that under the paint the plastic has just gloss from how smooth they've made it. But a lot of sculpted wear and tear on the blade, and that little point running up the center is super cool. Just really liking everything about this sculpt. I'm excited to see the final release product painted. It does have a bow to it. I've ran it under hot water and tried to straighten it out, and it just keeps reverting back, so maybe finished it'll be a little bit better than this. But it is really cool that I was able to get a version with accessories. They did have a version for sale with no accessories. When I saw it for $5 more I could get the axe, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get the axe. So had to get the axe, and it's a really cool accessory. Looking at the figure, so it looks largely finished. The only thing that is really missing is there's supposed to be a fabric soft goods like skirt going on, and the face paint. Honestly, the whole head. So bringing it in, let's take a look at that head sculpt. So looking at the photos of the figure, the expression matches it. So I don't think that this is some bootleg third-party head. I believe this is just a unpainted cast of the Hasbro head. It's in a kind of purpley gray plastic. It's a really neat color, so obviously it's going to have 100% paint coverage, but it's a really cool sculpt. You know, he's got these really long clawed horns. They're very pointy, but they do have a rubberiness to it, so you can't hurt yourself too bad on it. Just has an insane grimace going on there. I mean, this likeness is just nuts. Really liking it. I'm excited to see the final painted result. Spinning him around. Just a super cool looking figure. So working down from there, you see that there's a lot of paint actually on the main figure, and that's really cool. The shoulder pads have a very nice like gunmetal silver to them, and then a lot of this like oxidization, dirt and grime over top. There's so many nicks sculpted in there. It's just really cool. And then you have these little like bracers across the biceps, and there's a little bit of like scuffing going on the tunic there. Really cool. This forearm gauntlet, like gauntlets are really neat. They have a lot of that weathering, just a lot of paint budget. Sometimes I look at a figure that's a little bit taller, and I'm like, why is Hasbro charging deluxe prices for this? And they're like, it's for the paint. And a lot of the times on the deluxes, they don't paint them. This guy actually has some pretty heavy weathering. Of course, none on the back, because why would we look around back? But a lot of weathering going on. Really do like how that's turned out. The hands are really cool. They're very clawed, very long, spiky fingernails on the ends, but very intricately sculpted, and just a really, really neat looking figure, neat hands. The belt looks really cool. It's got this little front flap thing with a crest on it. It's sculpted blowing a little to the left. When you get the soft goods skirt underneath, it'll look really good. Has a hook for the lightsaber. I didn't get his lightsaber with the figure, unfortunately, but his lightsaber does have like a hook on it to hang when it's unlit, which is really neat. And from there, he's kind of got these like purpley pants. They're kind of like dark purple, almost black pants going on. Same with the boots. They're a dark purple, almost black. They're kind of a little lighter than the pants itself. Just a touch of difference. And then some nice paint on the boot armor, and the steel toes and the straps around have the painted buckles. Just a lot of really, really good stuff going on here. It's a very well decoed, very well sculpted figure, and I'm just really excited to see the actual finished product when it comes time. So now I want to run through the articulation, and the thing is this thing, you have your expectations with a Hasbro figure, and whatever my expectations were have kind of been blown away by it. It has all the Hasbro standards, plus some of the stuff that they only do sometimes, and it just works beautifully. So he features the double ball system neck, which will allow the figure's head to look that far up, which is pretty nice, that far down, get a bunch of side to side, and some good pivot in there. The arms come up to a T pose. Now my shoulders on this one are very, very clicky, which makes me think it's a factory reject. There is a deep butterfly joint in there. I mean, insane amount of range. And then the arms can do a 360 at the shoulder, and this is where you'll find these shoulder pads, these big, bulky shoulder pads, which you see are free-floating. Used to be annoying on the 375 ones. They would like peg on and pop off. They actually have a strap that goes to a ring around the point of the joint, which is what they do for the Stormtrooper and the Clone Trooper shoulder armor. These ginormous shoulder pads are held on with that same tactic, which is awesome. So theoretically, you can do a 360 degree at the shoulder and just bring that shoulder pad along for the ride. And yeah, I mean, all the way around with that shoulder pad. You have to straighten it back out when you're done, but it can go all the way around. That is nuts. So really, really loving that. There's no bicep swivel. It would be kind of hard to do with the bicep like bracers things going on. But there are single jointed elbows that go a decent little bit past 90. Swivel at the elbow. There's a gauntlet swivel in here. I mean, that is just sexy. And then the hands are on a ball joint, and they have a lot of up and down and in and out. Some of these ball jointed wrists have been very limited. No limitations here whatsoever. This is how I want to see the ball jointed wrists done from here on. So from there, something that's mind-blowing for a Black Series is there's actually a double waist joint going in there. So when you combine them, you can crunch that far forward and that far back and get all the side to side and twists that you could ever want. His legs kick that far out. Shouldn't be hindered when they put the skirt on because it should be a soft good, so should be pretty good there. He can kick basically straight forward, tiny little bit back. There's no upper thigh cut for rotation, but you get a tiny bit of pivot on the ball joint, and that's okay because the knees go to 90 degrees and then pivot at the knee, so it kind of replaces that thigh joint at that point in the leg. And then he has a boot cut, another one of those things that you don't get on every figure, and it's really nice when you do. And then the feet can point that far down, that far forward, not a ton, but it's good enough. And there's a forward-facing pin for rocker, letting you get him in some decently wide stances with both feet flat on the ground. Standing him up like so. Let me just get him upright. Come on. Hopefully the final product is a little less weak-ankled. Let's do some size comparisons. So here he is next to his brother, Darth Maul, and is that not where you go, oh crap? This guy is nuts. Now, Maul isn't the tallest guy. He's under 6 foot in universe. So here he is next to Obi-Wan, who is about 6 foot, maybe a smidge under. But for just a solid reference, here is the Imperial Stormtrooper, which we know rocks in at exactly 6 inches tall. So Savage, he's maybe an inch taller or just a little under an inch, and that is just nuts. I mean, this guy is huge. Really, really loving this. I think they've done a great job on this figure. So at the end of the day, what do I think about this figure? It's interesting. I've never really gotten to mess with something like this. This is kind of my niche. I really have always liked growing up watching shows like How It's Made. My favorite part of the Revenge of the Sith DVD was Disc 2, showing the behind the scenes. I've always wanted to know about the process of anything. I don't care if it's something I don't care about. If you tell me how something works, how something was made, I will hear you out, because that's just how my brain is wired. So things like this speak to me. That's why something like the prototype Chewbacca Hasbro set was a must pick up for me when the opportunity came up. So when I saw this pop up, I had to have it. I could not pass on it. And so it's just super cool. I have gotten to handle a Hasbro figure months before it's come out and still not gotten the entire experience, because we're missing the skirt, we're missing the lightsaber, we're missing the paint on the face. So there's still something for me to be excited about. But it's like an appetizer. It's like handling a prototype or something. This has me more excited for the figure than I already was, which was a lot. I was very excited to add this one to the collection. So yeah, I'm extremely amped for it. I think that the upcoming Black Series Savage Opress has the potential to end up being the figure of the year. And that is not something that I speak lightly, especially considering how early in the year it is. I have to say, if this is not in my top 3 Black Series of 2025, it means that 2025 was an amazing year to be a collector. So I'm very excited to see what comes, and I'm very excited to get the finished version of this. This is just something that's going to go in a cabinet next to the prototype Chewbacca as a neat little early access thing, I suppose. And let me know in the comments below. Does this interest you remotely? Should I keep an eye out and try and procure, factory leaks and stuff in hand sooner? Would it be of interest to just get a little idea of how they work before they actually hit? So that's kind of where we're at. I'm super happy that I picked this up. It's just one of those weird little neat parts of the process, and like I said, that's my jam. So thanks for watching. It means a lot that you did. If you enjoyed, you should leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that end of video stuff. You know the drill. I'm going to go work on something else now, so until then, may the Force be with each and every one of you, and goodbye.